Hey guys, welcome to episode 7 of Romp Chess Rating Climb. I'm coming off a draw in my last game, episode 6. It was a pretty ugly game that I went back and reviewed extensively. Went over with my son, who is also my coach. I've done some puzzles since then and studied my game plan, and I'm really wanting to try to improve from that last game. I did raise my rating slightly, so I'm currently sitting at 555. So having said that, let's hit the play button and see who we get matched with. So we're searching for an opponent, and it looks like I'm going to be playing as black against a 457. And let's just get started right away here. I'm going to try to fianchetto this dark square bishop to put pressure here. Set up the King's Indian. I do want to attack this pawn here, so let's go ahead and hop this pony on out, which I probably should have done on the second turn, but the setup's going to end up primarily the same regardless. Okay, let's go ahead and fianchetto that bishop. Okay. White, let's see what has changed here. So white's bringing out this their dark square bishop. Little bit of pressure here, not too terribly concerned about that. Let's go ahead and castle. I don't see really any immediate threats, although white could have ideas of coming here or pushing his pawn with support. Either way, let's go ahead and castle here. Okay, so we got the queen out. I'm just looking at the board. So I want to attack this center here, so I could either bring my knight to here, which would attack this square and this square, or I could bring my knight to here. Let's bring the pony to here. Okay, so white castles, and I eventually want to make a pawn push on this side here. I do have this, I'd like to break up in the center, and I want to push this e-pawn eventually anyway. So if I push here with a pawn, that bishop will be attacked. If he takes, I can take back. So let's push here. could possibly kind of looking forward to my next move, since I'm going to let's see, since I'm going to want to storm the pawns on this side, I could push b6 there, fianchetto this bishop on that long diagonal there. So we're playing, we're attacking here. I could redirect the pony to there. If white does take there, that's protected twice, so not a huge threat. I could also get this queen off the back rank, prepare a battery here. That seems like the most logical move at this point. That'll unpin this knight here. So now if white takes, I just take back, and I still have my sniper bishop. Okay, so they do take. So take back. So we're coming with the pony. Okay, so the pony is attacking here. Let's think about this for just a minute. So white's attacking here. If I counterattack, the queen and the pony here, white takes, I take back. Then white can still take. Let's redirect. Let's redirect the queen to there. So protect here, protect here. Now I still have this hit here on the queen. I'm sure white would like to jump to there. So they hit the pawn there. So they're hitting my queen. And the rook. Let's think about this. So if I counterattack there, takes back. Do I have some way of saving this rook? Let's go here. Okay. Do I have a threat? With the queen. So the queen's being attacked, double attacked here and here. I do have a check here. Which is my most forcing move. So let's check here. King moves. The rook is still under attack there. The queen. Queen's got to go somewhere. So if I move the queen back to here, knight takes, I take. No, I can't do that because that square is protected by the knight too, or attacked by the knight. But I can go here. Now you're going to take. I take. Okay, let's pin. Let's pin this pawn with the rook here. The knight is currently trapped, so queen's putting pressure here. If I move queen to move the queen to here, you're still protected there. Okay. I can take here. Or I can redirect bishop to there, but the queen is controlling that square. Or I can, if I take, queen can take back, then I would take. Okay, let's hit this rook. I could either hit the rook there, get off the back rank, I've got pressure here. That rook's undefended. Got pressure here, but the queen's protecting that knight. Okay. So let's move the light square bishop back to here, which will pin this pawn. So I'll let my bishop get trapped here. To have any counterplay. So it looks like I have to take just to mitigate the damage. Well, I'll take back. I can Move to here, hit this pawn. But then white will advance. So let's go there. So I'll let myself get forked here and here. So if I go there, white takes. That's actually threatening a back rank checkmate. Will they be that greedy? Let's find out. That's the best play that I've got that I can see. Okay, if they take here, if they take here, I go there, and the king is trapped. Am I seeing that right? Is that back rank? Let's let's let this stew for a minute, okay? I got 2 minutes. If I go here, take the rook with the queen. The king has no escape squares. And there's no way to capture the queen or block, because this rook is being blocked by this bishop here. So I think that's the move. Wow, that was that was rough. My opponent made a blunder there at the end. That was really my saving grace. But yeah, let's jump right into the game review. And I know I made several missteps there. Came out with the win, regardless. But let me jump right into the review. I'm interested to see what went wrong and how I actually managed to pull this one out. Yeah, so let's review this bad boy. So, looking at the review, we both played pretty close. My opponent did have a couple blunders that cost him, especially that last one there that led to checkmate. That's getting greedy and taking that rook. That's what my son calls one move-itis. Looks like I had a game rating of 1,000. My opponent had a game rating of 950. Or no, I had 950. My opponent had 1,000. I'm sorry. My accuracy was 70%. My opponent was 72.2. So not the greatest game, but let's jump right into the review and see what we have here. So all book moves so far. I'm just trying to set up this the King's Indian here. Yeah, and I knew that I wanted to either push the E pawn or the C pawn. In hindsight, would have been better, I think, to push this C pawn to establish this this pawn chain here, but that's not what I played. I went ahead and castled. So game pretty even at this point. Then my opponent castles. Then there's where I pushed the e-pawn. And again, I should have pushed D here. To create this pawn chain. But I had to do over again. That's a setup I would go for. I'm still trying to learn the King's Indian, like the most effective lines. So this is really practice for me as well. So just bear with me. So opponent takes there. Take back. My bishop is still fianchettoed, so it's all good so far. Now here's the first thing that that really should have caused me concern. This knight coming to d5, to my side of the board. I should have dealt with that in a different way, because I know that they can come to there, or they might want to come to there, but they can't because I have the queen there. So there was my inaccuracy, and I see that now, because by moving the queen to there, I allowed my opponent to fort the queen and the rook. So so yeah, that was a mistake on my part, and my opponent punished me for it right away, and I give them credit for that, certainly. Interesting. So Stockfish says that was a blunder, and I'm not sure I understand why that was a blunder. So I've got a pin. Let's look at the pin. So that's quite a bit there, but I could have, yeah. So this this pawn here is hanging. And white's still going to take. I'm sorry, I still don't quite understand that line, and I'm not going to bore my audience with it, but I'm going to come back and take a closer look at that later for sure. So I should have taken there, because like I said, because that pawn is hanging, and I just did not see that. And that also would have gotten me out of the fork. So now I allow my queen to be attacked twice, and I'm still not seeing this. Okay, white is definitely winning here, but that's a miss for white. Let's see, what should they have done there? It's just too much to look at. Again, I'll take a look at that. more in depth later. At this point, I'm just trying to figure out a way to save this rook. And I also see now that white has castled on this side. If I had taken that pawn, I would have had check and possibly even well, no, it would have been a very forcing move, because I could have checked the king after I took this pawn. So white takes there, and I know I'm down in material here, but I'm just looking for a way to take advantage of any my opponent's missteps, which I often have a hard time doing until after the fact. So I'm trying to pin the pawn there. So I'm trying to pin this pawn. So if they take, I've got the queen. Okay. Yeah, that was a misstep. I should have just taken here. Let's back it up. So I should have taken here. And then white couldn't have taken back with the queen, because that pawn would be protected by the rook, and this pawn would be protected by the queen. So that was a miss on my part there, and I see that now. Yeah, so now this pawn is still protected, but this pawn here is hanging. Yeah, so misstep there. White punishes me for it. And at this point in the game, they're totally winning. They're just, I mean, I just thought there was just no way I'm going to pull this out. So I'm trying to kick the queen there. They take and get themselves down here in the corner. So now my idea is just to try to put pressure here on this king side with these diagonals. Yeah, that's beginner mistake there that I shouldn't have made. I definitely know better than that. I definitely know better than that. I should have seen this this block here. Basically, I've put myself back here in the corner where I've got no available squares to move to, and all this white has to do is advance this pawn, and they're trading a bishop for a pawn, and of course they saw that and they took advantage of it. So I just take the pawn. There's something else that I missed. So I know I'm going to lose this bishop, so my idea was to take here. So I take, but I should have put the queen here, because now if white were to take, then I've got this this pawn hanging here, which would have been the same checkmate that I eventually delivered, or checkmate threat. But that's not what I did. So the reason that I moved the queen here was to attack this pawn. At this point in the game, I can't even remember if I was seeing this. Until like maybe the next move. Let's see. Yeah, so this is the point where I initially thought, man, I've really messed up. I've allowed myself to get forked again by this daggone knight. This troublesome knight that I should have dealt with, early in the game. But then I saw this. And I knew that if I went ahead and took this pawn that's hanging, that if my opponent took here, which, I'm assuming that they've got tunnel vision as well. The only thing that they're thinking about is, I'm going to get one of these pieces here. They're zeroed in on that thought process. I know, because at my level I do the same thing. I get zeroed in on that thought process. So I played a little bit of hope chess, hoping that if I took here, hitting this rook, that they would be thinking, oh, well, I'm just going to trade rooks. So I'm going to take this rook, the queen will take this rook, but they weren't seeing this checkmate there on the back rank. So boom, that's the blunder. That's the blunder that cost them the game. And then I take it right there. So again, I made several mistakes in that game. A few that I'm going to have to review with, like I said, my son, who's also my coach, to get a better understanding. But I pulled off the win, so I'll certainly take it. Looks like that's got my rating up to 573, so that's a step in the right direction. And I'll just keep practicing and try to get better at this pirc King's Indian / King's Indian setup as I go forward. So nevertheless, thanks for tuning in, guys, to episode 7. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe and hit that bell so you get a notification when I release episode 8. Until next time, take care. Have a good week.